First of all, I'd like to offer you a little bit of theory. So first of all, why use EAL in the mainstream classroom? Now I'm going to base my presentation around Cummins' linguistic interdependence hypothesis. And there are two main reasons why I encourage mainstream teachers at St. Mary's College to use students' first language in the mainstream classroom. One of those is it helps them to access the curriculum. If you imagine a situation where a student, international student, comes to the UK with quite limited English, using resources in the first language is going to be very helpful, and it's going to help them access the individual subjects of the curriculum. And secondly, using first language might, and actually according to Cummins' hypothesis, it does accelerate EAL acquisition. But basically, what that theory says is that certain knowledge acquired in students' first language can be successfully transferred during the process of second language acquisition. And this is very briefly put. So that's also represented by his iceberg model of language interdependence. What this shows is the very simplified representation of a bilingual person's language faculty. So there are two service areas, and this is what we can hear and see in terms of language production. And what lies underneath is the common underlying proficiency, which is common for both languages. So that's mainly the conceptual knowledge that can be transferred between L1 and L2. That's the last slide that I wanted to show, and this one is about when to do it, who to do it with, and how. So these activities can have a different form. For example, if you don't speak the student's first language, you can try and provide some learning resources in the first language. Secondly, what I did with some of my students in, for example, English classes, was writing essays in the first language, in my case, in the case of the student, Polish language, and then we translated that essay, when it was finished, into the target language, into English. And that worked really well. We did that a few years ago with one of the newcomers, and he actually ended up having a C grade in his English. So thirdly, we can also use some workbooks in the first language of the student. So what we sometimes do with my colleagues, we ask mainstream teachers, let's say in art and design, to allow the student to work and take notes in a workbook in the first language, and then with the help of a TA, they will translate into the target language and acquire the target vocabulary. And finally, we can provide, and this is a form of differentiation, of course, and this is widely done, key vocabulary in the first language. So I hope this was the last one. Okay, yes, thank you very much. That's everything from me.